lot of things to do on Saturday, Al. Here we are. Let's wrap her up. And then my children are going to take me home. Which one of you am I writing with?
Oh, sure.
Wherever you favor.
Well, that's an interesting.
You're going to have to favor Lisa.
Yeah, Mom always liked you best. No. Okay, we were looking at water baptism in connection with all of this. You think of this. When you think of it, we have got this interesting story, and you ask, what's it all about? Well, I'll tell you, it's part of what it's all about. These angels, these sons of God, who the enemy used to try to corrupt the human race and to stop salvation of men. Think about it. And are reserved in a special place called Tartarus, and they are in the chains of darkness awaiting judgment forever. And Al came up to me and just a little while ago and said, the Lord didn't go down there to preach the gospel to them. No, he didn't. He didn't. I don't know of any place in the scriptures where the gospel is ever preached to angels. He went down to preach judgment to them, because that's what they are awaiting. They know what they did, and they know that it wasn't good, that they shouldn't have done it. But it's a lot worse than that. Anyone, you think about it, who is trying to destroy the line of the Christ. And in that regard, I want to tell you something. And it's the kind of thing I wouldn't normally talk about in mixed company even. But I'm going to talk about this because it has something to do with this. You remember that one of Judah's sons, I believe the story's in Genesis. Judah, yeah.
Tamar?
Or maybe, huh?
You want Tamar?
Well, yeah, she gets into it, but you remember one of them went into his wife or something and spilled his seed on the ground, and God killed him dead. Killed him dead. You know why? That was the line of the Christ. That was the line through which the Christ was to come. And God does not let anyone fool with that. We got Herod, we got Pharaoh in Egypt. Satan has always been trying to wipe out. Well, it's too late for him now. And I often wonder, what's he doing anyway? Does he not get it? He's lost. He's done for. He loses. I've read the last chapter of the book. Well, let's take a look now. We've got this, the judgment of these angels, their actions and their judgment, and they are tied up with both Noah and Sodom and Gomorrah. Now I'm going to tell you why I think that is, and why those two places are specifically tied in with these angels. What we're talking about here is judgment in both cases. We're talking about the judgment of God in both cases. And in both cases, we are seeing something here that we have rarely seen in the history of humans. Of course, the Tower of Babel is one. These two are specifically connected. One is the destruction of the entire world in a great flood. That's one of the things. And that great flood, this is something that occurred within the historical memory of man. An actual event. This is something that was supernatural. It was God breaking into history in a way that we don't see Him breaking in, right, or haven't seen. Breaking in, same thing with this other judgment. Once by water, once by fire. God said no more water, but fire next time. One of them was a worldwide inundation. The other was just fire on this little area, these two cities, because of their wickedness. And it is judgment that says something to us today. You will remember in Peter's second letter how he says that we are to know this, that in the last days scoffers will come, saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were before. But of this one thing they are ignorant, and I think willfully ignorant. They don't like to even talk about it. They make just some kind of a fairy tale out of it. And he starts talking, Peter does, about Noah's flood. They are ignorant of it, or willfully ignorant of it. The implication being that there will be another worldwide judgment falling on men. And Peter says so, doesn't he? And it will be like this. Men, women in this world do not believe and don't want to believe that God will ever break into history again like this. That there will ever be anything like this again. They like to talk about evolution and everything gradually changing over the millennia. I had a guy tell me one time, this was a smart guy too, I taught with him, UCO. He said, we're a lot better than we used to be. I said, John, what are you talking about? We just killed about 100 million people in the century we just came out of. How are we any better? I mean, we're frying people alive right now. How are we any better? We are headed for judgment. And the judgment is sure and the judgment is certain. And that is why Peter tells these stories, or refers back to them in Jude. Because these guys knew and know and told that a judgment is coming. Don't know when. But as we see the world spreading out around us now more than ever is the time to hold to the Lord and to hold our position and to tell the truth. Because it's coming, and when it falls, it will hit hard. As I say, we won't be here, but I know a lot of people, if they don't get saved, they will be. They don't want to be, but they're just overlooking all of this. How are we doing? All right. I want to look at something else that's associated with